Thanks for joining us on this Monday, Fox and Talks, Martin Luther King Day. I'm Marc Martinez.
And I'm McNamara. We hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I know it always goes pretty quickly, and we are right back in the swing of things.
I mean, it's going by like that every single weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of developments over the weekend.
Yeah, the president made a lot of news over the weekend. Still, this is what everyone is talking about right now. We're not sure if you had a chance to see it, but the president sent a note to the Prime Minister of Norway, talking about the whole Greenland situation. Mm-hmm. And part of what he said here, you're seeing on your screen, is that considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, plus I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. And this is sort of heightening the tension now, to say the least, really,
right,
when it comes to Greenland and what is the next step. And people on social media, even a lot of Democratic Republicans, have said that they're concerned about the president's mental capacity now. They think that maybe it could be time to talk about invoking the 25th Amendment, some people are saying.
And actually, even so, I was looking at Twitter today, X, and so like the John McCain top advisor, his former John McCain top advisor, so not necessarily even talking about the 25th, but actually just talking about mental fitness and examining from a doctor's perspective his mental fitness. And maybe we need to talk about, like, from a physician's standpoint, where is this going?
Sure.
And so that has raised a lot of red flags over the weekend, just based on what was sent, this text message that was sent over the weekend, and now has been shared all around the world.
Yeah, and joining us now to talk about this, again, it's obviously premature, but people are bringing the issue, so we wanted to get an expert in here. Brian Kalt is a law professor at Michigan State University. And sir, I noticed, I was looking at your bio, it says that you focus on constitutional law and specifically provisions concerning the presidency, as we're talking about here, including the 25th Amendment. Thank you for joining us. And where do you think this is going to go, if anywhere?
Well, the 25th Amendment is really not designed to do much in a situation like this, where the president, whatever his mental functioning may be, is doing his job. He's conscious. He's able to contest any action they take against him. The 25th Amendment allows power to transfer to the vice president when the president is completely unconscious or in a coma or something like that. It can also be invoked by the vice president and the cabinet if they think that the president is not okay, that he's not able to function and do his job. But if the president is allowed, is able rather, to contest that action, it's really hard to make it stick, because then you need not just the cabinet and the vice president, you would need 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate to agree that the president can't function. Otherwise, he gets his power back, and we're right back where we were.
And that involuntary removal from office under those circumstances, that's never happened before, correct?
Correct. And it doesn't remove him from office. It just temporarily transfers power.
Gotcha.
So he can declare that he's all better and force a vote in Congress again and again and again. He's still president. It's just the vice president would be acting president. So it's really designed to protect the president, to make it really hard to take power away from him if he's able to contest the action.
Yeah, and I think too, just considering his cabinet, the vice president, I mean, all of them, everyone is so loyal. I mean, so you're talking about an extremely unique situation anyway, that I'm guessing, in your opinion, you think that this is probably a big stretch.
Yes. So even if there are people in Congress who are willing to vote to support taking power from him, even if there's significant numbers of Republicans willing to do that, which you would need to get 2/3 majority, you've got to start with the vice president and the cabinet, and they are not going to take an action like that lightly. They are, like you said, the most loyal members, and it was designed that way on purpose, again, to protect the president.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone could really see Donald Trump handing that over, willingly, unless, he literally was incapacitated and couldn't do that job anymore.
Yeah.
So do you think, Professor, that a lot of this talk is just kind of, it's a lot of noise, but nothing really is going to, as you mentioned, probably nothing's going to happen. But we hear about the 25th Amendment occasionally. We heard about it with Joe Biden. is it just a lot of people get on social media and start talking about this without really digging into it and finding out exactly what it would take?
Yeah, and I would say the same thing about the talk about President Biden's mental capacity. There were a lot of people raising questions about that, and the 25th Amendment doesn't really deal well with situations where, again, the president is able to say, I'm okay, even if people on the other side or even on his side might disagree. It's hard to do. It was designed that way to make it sort of impossible to use it as an end run around impeachment. If the president's doing things that people really don't like and need to stop, they're supposed to use the impeachment process, not the 25th Amendment.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating. And we've already heard him talk a little bit about the midterms upcoming and could an impeachment process potentially happen. So, I mean, he certainly is aware of that. But yeah, that is certainly something that, we have heard. But Mark, you bring up a very good point. People on social media can really jump the gun on a lot of different things, can really overreact. And that might be something that is happening right now.
Yeah, they seem to think they might have some expert knowledge about topics that are so complicated, obviously.
Yeah.
Professor, I just wanted to ask you, too, are your students, if you're actively teaching a class right now, is this something that they're talking about, or presidential powers in general?
More than they used to. When I started writing about these things, they were all a lot more theoretical. I write about things like presidents pardoning themselves and impeaching people after they've left office, and other things that seemed ridiculous to a lot of people. But then since President Trump has come in, they've all been sort of thrust to the forefront. Another one is the talk about running for a third term. These are not things that are typically discussed in constitutional law classes, but increasingly now are.
Yeah, I'm sure your classes are very interesting.
Yes. Well, Professor Brian Kalt from Michigan State University, thank you so much for joining us and kind of shedding some light on that, the issue of the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate that. Now, we also had a guest on earlier today on Fox 10 Talks with the Fox 10 Talks crew here. His name is Mikkel Runge Olesen, and he's with the Danish Institute for International Studies. And he's got more about this whole talk about Greenland and really the geopolitical consequences of all of this. So we're going to listen to what he had to say here.
No, I think actually there was this sense of surprise that the U.S. would want to do this because if you take a look at the security argument, this has been the main argument throughout this process, right? It just doesn't really resonate because from a Danish or Greenlandic perspective, we'd say, well, the U.S. has full access to Greenland. The U.S. can come in and do basically whatever it deems necessary for its security. That's one feeling. And then the other feeling is Denmark has a long history of very close relations with the U.S. So I think it's this feeling of disbelief that the U.S. would do this to a close ally that I think people are asking themselves, is this who the U.S. is now? A country going around and attacking small democratic allies, or at least threatening to? And I hope not, would be my answer. I hope that's not what the U.S. is now. We have been allies with the U.S. for a long time. And of course, the entire point of the NATO alliance is to make sure that Russia is not going anywhere that's NATO territory. And that very much applies to Greenland as well, right? So here I think Denmark, Greenland, the U.S. should be firmly united in making sure that we don't want Russia in Greenland. I can say that very clearly. No one in Denmark wants Russia in Greenland. No, there's a lot of worry in Europe and in Denmark about Russia. I think in terms of an invasion, I don't think we see Greenland as being particularly likely. I mean, NATO, including the US, has vast naval supremacy over Russia. So as long as we stick together in NATO, I feel quite confident that it should be possible to deter Russia in that regard. But of course, we are worried about Russia in Europe. We're worried about Ukraine. Russia is listed in Denmark as the main security threat to Denmark.
Yeah, he was full of a lot of information. And actually, over the weekend, we were told and we have been informed that Danish troops are getting ready to prepare for a possible invasion of Greenland. And we're also being told that American troops, are kind of being told to be on standby too. So, I mean, a lot is developing right now.
This is totally unprecedented because now you've got this NATO alliance really looking like it could fracture. And what is that going to look like? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be all the NATO countries and then us?
Right.
I mean, we don't know. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when this talk of Greenland first started coming up, and it's been a while, a couple of years, I think. Mm-hmm. I think he talked about it in his first term.
Yeah.
But I don't think many people took it seriously or thought it was something that actually could happen.
No.
But it's escalating, that is for sure. They're going to be meeting the world leaders and NATO leaders in Davos, Switzerland this week. Mm-hmm. And these NATO alliance leaders, they're going to try to figure out what to do here to de-escalate, like turn the heat down, try to figure something out.
Yes, but as you saw from the text message, Trump is very focused right now on Greenland. I think we do have another soundbite too. Do we have time to get to that?
No, we don't have a soundbite. We do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Council on Foreign Relations. Let's get to that real quick.
What's happening with Greenland and Europe is pretty weird. It's kind of out there. Just in the last, I would say 48 hours.
We won't do the poll.
President Trump has said he's going to hit Europe with new tariffs if they don't agree to give the United States Greenland. And today there was a report that the president said to the leader of Norway, because I didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, I'm not going to be talking about peace anymore. You know, this is kind of very odd stuff in the broader context of American diplomacy. It's hard to say what Trump is up to, what Trump has in mind. I think he's serious about trying to annex Greenland and add it to the territory of the United States, but it does belong to a democratic ally, Denmark. Much of what President Trump wants for Greenland, whether it's security, whether it's access to minerals and rare earths, whether it is building out a missile defense system, all that stuff he can get because Greenland is an ally.
Well, he's always talked about that as basically national security. That's kind of been some of the buzzwords that we've heard of as a strategic plan to get Greenland. That's what we've heard anyway. Yeah,
that's been some of the talking points coming from the White House. Mm-hmm. We also we have a Fox 10 poll asking people what they think about that, and we've got quite a lot of response to that. We're going to take a look at that coming up right after this break.
That was great. Nice job.
All right, welcome back. And as we were talking about Greenland before we went to the break, we were mentioning that poll.
Yes, and we have a huge response. We wanted to show you that poll right now. What is your take on the Greenland ever becoming part of the U.S.? And right now, it says, leave it alone. It belongs to Denmark and always should. 70% of you have been voting, saying that anyway.
Yeah, and then 17% next saying that they agree with Trump that we need it for our national security. And the third option here, 13%, only if it's done through negotiations, no military action. And again, 10,000 votes so far on this. And if you'd like to vote, we have that poll up for you.
Yeah, a lot of comments also, too.
BostonPhoenix.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we wanted to bring in our Taylor Wirtz now because this story, a really unbelievable story, a horrible story that she covered for us last night. Right?
Yeah, I was watching this on the news last night when you ran this story, and it was one of those shocking moments where you're like, this could happen to any of us. For background, you want to explain, and then we have your story from last night to run.
Yeah, so there was a man Friday morning stopped at the Quick Trip on the way to work, and just like anyone would do, was standing in line for the bathroom. He said that this 25-year-old man came in and tried to cut the line, and there were a few people in line. So this man, Danny, said, hey, don't do that. I don't know what the exact exchange was. And the man shot him multiple times and killed him. And it's just, like you said, the family's in disbelief that this could have been any person, any of us. I mean, on the street, anything.
Yeah. And just in line at the bathroom at the Quick Trip. And like, that's the normal thing to do, right? Like, hey, if someone's cutting you in line, be like, hey, dude, come on, man. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, the family kept saying the most ordinary, harmless interaction, something that, like you said, majority of people would probably say.
Yeah.
And you'd never think that it would end up with someone dead.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and it's when you hear about these stories, it's so crazy to think, like, if anything different had happened that day, he wouldn't be in that situation. You know, stopped at a different QT or didn't have to use the restroom. I mean, just these little things,
Running
and all
late.
of a sudden, your life is your life and your family's life is totally up, and then you've lost your life. And you had a chance to speak with the family members.
I did speak with the family yesterday. I spoke with some of the nieces and nephews and his sister, and they are all just, I think they're in shock. They're just devastated. They had a little memorial set up on the side of the Quick Trip, but they were just saying how valued he was as part of their family, how much they loved him. The kids are really upset. They were really close to their uncle, and you can tell they just kept saying he must have been so scared. He didn't deserve to die this way, because it's just such a horrible way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can run your story last night so that people at home can get a view of this and hear from the family.
Everyone related to Danny Castor calls him a special person.
We've been thicker than thieves since we were kids.
He was funny, told really great jokes. He always had a huge heart for animals.
Danny was literally the person that would give you the shirt off of his back.
But on Friday morning, his sister Delsa got a call that Danny had been shot at the Quick Trip near 44th Street and McDowell Road. He died at the hospital shortly after.
We're all still honestly in shock. He left for work on Friday and now he's never coming home.
Delsa says her brother was waiting for the restroom with two others, and 25-year-old DeAndre Franklin cut the line. When Danny tried to say something about it, she says Franklin shot him multiple times.
This was a completely senseless act of violence. My brother was doing nothing wrong. He was not aggressive, not threatening, and not looking for trouble. He was just a man starting off his workday.
Now, Danny's family is forced to come to terms with his loss in an act of violence they call senseless and avoidable.
I just want to say to him that I really love him and that I'm sorry that he had to go through this and that he was probably scared.
My brother was more than this tragedy. He was a son, a brother, a loved one who mattered deeply to his family and friends. He had a life, relationships, his dog Max, his prized possession truck, and a future that was stolen in an instant.
Franklin was arrested by Phoenix police on Saturday, accused of murder, while Delsa plans to be at every court date.
I will be at every single one.
She asks that Danny be remembered for the big life he lived, not how it was taken from him.
My brother no longer has a voice, so I have to be his.
That is awful. Horrible.
It's something that sticks with you after talking to that family, because we we were talking before the package aired, this could have been any of us, you know, a road rage incident, someone cuts you off and you honk at them, someone cuts you in the line in the bathroom and you say, hey, you can't do that. I mean, nowadays you just feel like you can't interact with strangers anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean, it's totally relatable to our everyday lives where, Danny wasn't doing anything wrong, just trying to be like, hey, man. And then look what happens. It's like we were saying when we're in traffic now, I don't even want to honk at anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just so scary with how quickly things can change. The family does have a GoFundMe though, right? To try to.
They do. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, we put a link with this story. So if you find the story on fox10phoenix.com, there's a GoFundMe there because the family, of course, is shell shocked.
Yeah.
And they weren't expecting this. He was 52 years old, had so much life ahead of him. So they're not prepared financially to deal with the funeral expenses. So we are helping. We put a link and people can donate and help raise money for them.
Maybe ease some of the stress on them. You know, when something like that happens, the expenses just add up so quickly.
It's horrible. And I'm assuming too with the Quick Trip, there's going to be surveillance video. There obviously were witnesses too because there was a line at the bathroom.
Exactly.
So,
I think he was about to go to work and he was with some of his coworkers, so they saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
And his family told me that supposedly the police told them that Franklin was trying to claim self-defense and say he felt threatened and that's why he shot them. But the police told the family that the footage speaks for itself. He was not threatened at all. Danny was in the right. So a lot of witnesses. And when we were there yesterday, the Quick Trip did have security there, as I'm sure a lot of people are shaken up by this.
Yeah. Man.
That's an awful story. Well, hopefully the family does get some support in this time because it's so sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Taylor.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Of course.
And our hearts are with that family too. That's just awful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
And then Martin Luther King Day today, obviously.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Kids are off school.
Yes.
Some people not working today. And, there's obviously parades happening in our community today. And I believe we have a couple of reporters too.
We had Desiree Fluellen out. I think she was at Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church earlier today to talk to some of the folks out there about what this day means to them. Let's listen to that.
Well, being a Memphis, Tennessee resident,
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.
It's very important to me to continue to remember us. The city of Phoenix and Arizona has been doing this for 40 plus years. It's the 40th celebration. And we just continue this march as a commemorative march. It's not a protest march, but a commemorative march where we continue the legacy of Dr. King. And just excited to have the good work of Valerie Churchwell here with us, as well as one of our new Living the Dream honorees, Mara. So an exciting day to educate our kids of the history of Dr. King, peace, nonviolence, and love.
And as you commemorate and remember Dr. King, what is, I mean, there's so many things we remember of him, but the one for you, the memory or the message that was most important that he shared that remains with you to this day?
I think of course everyone knows the I Have a Dream speech, right? And him knowing that the possibility that he would not be with us as we progress in this society, but everyone remembers that speech. He said, I might not get there with you, but I know we will get to the mountaintop. So it's just a semblance of getting past some of the division that our country has been experiencing and continuing to push that legacy of love, peace, and harmony.
And Valerie, you will be carrying the torch today. You're the breakfast chair. What does this honor mean to you?
Well, it is truly an honor, and we've been carrying the torch for 20 years. We started it at the time with the organization that I was with, and we've transitioned it to the city. And the biggest thing for us is we've been able to have our youth continue to make that run. Every breakfast, they're there. They've been doing it for 20 years, and now truly we have our youth as part of our honorees.
The most important message that Dr. King shared that remains with you, Valerie, is what?
It's unity. It's unity and love.
And introduce us to Mara. Walk us through the honor that she received. What did she have to do in order to receive that and be recognized here and walking alongside you in the parade today?
So Mara is one of our Living the Dream awardees. She received a nomination for all of her tremendous work that she's doing in the community. What we'd like to do is highlight is that she is 11 years old and she is truly changing the world. She was here with us on Friday and she is here with us today celebrating.
So Mara, the Living the Dream honoree, what did you, what went into receiving that award?
It took hard work, and I've been helping my community by helping Phoenix homeless, and it truly took care and time to get nominated for this award.
So, and you've been really busy in the community. Explain a little bit more what you are doing for the homeless population here in Phoenix. You collected, I hear, quite a bit of items to help folks that are struggling.
I raised over 300 pairs of shoes during 2024 for a local nonprofit called Trevor's Vision. Then during 2025, I raised over $15,000 of underwear for Trevor's Vision, which was enough for 2 years of underwear for them, for their weekly shower trailers.
Wow. And before we let you go, what is it when you're talking with your friends or classmates, when you're in school learning about Martin Luther King Jr. and the history there, what stands out to you the most?
That it always takes a dream. You have to have a dream for a future, and that dream will grow stronger and stronger and make a better future.
Amazing. And here with us today as well, you are?
Gibbs, member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm out here with my other D9 brothers and sisters from the fraternities and sororities. We're out here to show that the dream is still alive. It's a day of remembrance and reflection.
Llewellyn out for us this morning. Yeah, like I said, there were a lot of parades happening, a lot of celebrations for Dr. King today.
Great work by that young woman out there, too, raising all of that for people who need it. Mm-hmm. And some of the history with MLK Day in Arizona, it was a difficult history, that's for sure. It was federally recognized in 1983, but Arizona did not recognize it as a holiday, MLK Day, until it took a voter initiative in 1992, and it became official in 93.
Yes,
so,
they were a little late to the party.
Yeah, Arizona was the last state to recognize that day. So that's why I think the folks were saying there why it is so important to continue to celebrate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
perfect weather out there today for everyone who was outside.
Yes, it was absolutely perfect. I mean, like the next 10 days, I think.
Yeah,
like 70 degrees. I mean, it's like picture perfect right now.
Yeah, I've had some friends that used to live here. Well, Tyler Cisuerto used to work at Fox 10. He was back in town for vacation to see some friends, and he was out there. We were hanging out on Sunday, and he's like, "Wow, why did I leave? You know, it's just so perfect. You know."
Yes.
And the tourists are loving it, so that's great, and we are too. We need this kind of weather.
It's absolutely perfect. Yeah. Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us on this Monday. A lot to cover, and of course, we're going to keep covering it on the news starting at 4:00.